Coming up, the Angels' star power comes through against the Blue Jays, and the Twins finally snap their losing streak. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB, local experts weighing in on the biggest stories in baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. We have all of our hosts from the MLB channels ready to tune in and tell us exactly what happened on Sunday. We are going to start out in Baltimore, one of the hottest teams in the AL, taking on the best team in the AL in our biggest game.
The biggest game.
The Orioles Magic ran out against the best team in the American League as the Astros were able to sneak out of town with a 3-1 win. Locked On Orioles and Locked On Astros breaks down the series finale from both sides.
Well, it was a tough one on Sunday. O's couldn't get the sweep. Austin Voth was incredible. 6+ innings, just one run allowed, got into the 7th. But the Oriole offense just did not wake up. And obviously Brian Baker, Joey Crable did not do their job out of the bullpen. Now, I will say, at some point, those guys are going to have to get some big outs. They've both been struggling lately, as has Keegan Aikens. Someone's going to have to step up in that bullpen to help out the likes of Perez, Tate, and Bautista get outs late in the game. But overall, the weekend, an A-plus series for the Orioles, despite not finishing off the sweep. They win 2 of 3 against the Astros, the best team in the American League. Get great starts from Bradish, Kramer, and Austin Voth on Sunday. And you know what? Yeah, the Sunday loss stings, but that is one of the bigger series wins of the year for the Orioles. They stay right in the wild card race. They get great starting pitching, and I will recap it all coming up on Monday's episode of the Locked On Orioles podcast.
Hey guys, Samuel House here with Locked On Astros. The Astros win 3-1, avoiding the sweep against the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles pitchers had their way, 24 innings without a run, and then the 7th inning, Yuli Gurriel hit a 2-run single. Prior to that, 60 pitches in, 3 innings in, 6 strikeouts in, Justin Verlander was removed from the game, and the relief pitchers would come in and finish the job. So we will find out about the right calf discomfort, what exactly that means, if he'll miss a start, what will happen. And then Monday, the rosters expand from 26 to 28. Will this have any impact on someone like Hunter Brown or anybody else? We'll see what happens there. So stay tuned into Locked On Astros. They avoid the sweep. They go on the road after an off day on Monday. So just make sure you stay tuned in to our channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple, Google, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, we're your team every day. Go Stros.
The Pirates beat the Phillies to avoid a season sweep from their cross-state rival. They did it in a pretty cool way as well. They had 3 triples in the game from 3 different players. Locked On Phillies recaps a disappointing finale for them.
All right, I'm in a dark corner of Xfinity Live, and it's only fitting. The Phillies lose to the Pirates. Not the Phillies' worst game of the year, but certainly not their best. Just one of those end-of-series Sunday games, sleep, walk-through performances. It's okay. They won 6 straight. The streak's over. They win the series. We'll take it. It was just a very tough game for the Philadelphia Phillies, and it felt like they kind of slept walk, but you're heading on a big road trip. You got 15 more games against teams under 500. I still feel good about the Philadelphia Phillies. Just a rough performance by them, and you're going to have to hope they have a bounce-back game when they get to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks tomorrow night. Not mad at them. Just a rough Sunday for them, and well, you live and you move on. Hopefully they pull out more on this road trip, beat the Diamondbacks, beat the Giants, and get back on the winning side. Yeah, live and you learn.
The Yankees at this point in the season are making our Locked On Yankees host physically sick. She battled through to recap us on a disappointing finish to the weekend.
This is Stacey Gotsoulias of Locked On Yankees, and the Yankees dropped the last 2 games against Oakland. After starting off the series so nicely and winning 5 in a row, they come out and look awful in the last 2 games at Oakland. Can't hit. They could barely hit the ball the last 2 days. I don't understand this team at all. And they could have taken advantage of the fact that the Blue Jays got swept by the Angels and the Red Sox were beating the Rays and the Orioles were beating the Astros. And no, of course, they didn't take advantage of this at all because this team does not know how to step on the gas. They just don't. If I feel better tomorrow, we'll have a recap of the series in depth, but I have a feeling I'm going to get worse, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll have someone pinch hit for me again, because, yeah, the Yankees are making me sick.
Coming up, the Angels show out in a rare series sweep, and the Giants somehow make the Twins look very, very good. This is Locked On Game to Game. Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by BetOnline, the number one spot for all of your online sports gambling needs. College football is back. The NFL is right around the corner. And of course, whatever you want to bet on, Major League Baseball, NBA basketball, when that comes back, or even golf, you can head over to betonline.net. BetOnline, where the game starts. Welcome back to Locked On Game to Game MLB. I'm Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. We're going to continue now with our look around the league.
Let's go around the league.
The Rockies were able to salvage one win from their series in New York against the Mets. One run was the difference, and our Locked On Rockies host is pleased that they were somehow able to avoid the sweep.
Rock on Rockies fans, Paul Holden here from the Locked On Rockies podcast. Well, the Rockies only win one game out of this series. They avoid the sweep today off of German Marquez's best pitching start of the year. Honestly, the best pitching performance out of the entire Rockies staff this year. That was a tough game today, going up against one of the best in the business in Max Scherzer. The Rockies offense does just enough to get there and gets the one run across, and that's all they need. The Rockies did have an opportunity to split this series. That game was very winnable there, the second game of the series, but at least they can take solace in the fact that they were able to take down Max Scherzer and not get swept, but it isn't going to get any easier. They're taking on another team right in the thick of the playoff race in Atlanta. They got to be coming with their best stuff if they want to be able to keep up with teams like this. We'll be breaking it all down right here on Locked On Rockies.
A shocking weekend for the Halos. They were able to win 3 across the border against the Blue Jays. The stars coming through, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. Locked On Angels has nothing but good things to go over after another win.
Well, some people like to joke that Canada is America's hat, but this weekend, the Angels made Canada America's halo because they lit up the Toronto Blue Jays. What's going on, everybody? It's John, one half of Locked On Angels. The Angels complete the sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays, who are in playoff contention, and we're playing a little bit of spoilers. They also had 2 shutouts, but more than that, the Angels' offense actually came alive. Hitting coach Jeremy Reed stayed behind on this trip, and then the Angels' offense came alive. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. I'm not going to get into that. I am going to talk about the fact that the Angels won 12-0 on Friday. They only won 2-0 on Saturday, but they went up against Alek Manoah, and it was Ohtani versus Manoah in that one. So the Angels had 2 shutouts over the weekend. Then on Sunday, they won it 8-3. Everybody was hitting home runs this weekend. Some incredible offense from this team and great pitching performances all the way around. The starters looked great. Tucker Davidson struggled a little bit, but the bullpen came in and held it down for them on Sunday. Mike and I are going to talk about this exciting series and what it means for the Halos moving forward. Boy, it just feels good to win some, doesn't it? And it's about time that we did. Please join Mike and I on Locked On Angels, wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube.
The Minnesota Twins did not look good heading into their series with San Francisco this weekend. They had lost 5 straight games, and they were reeling at this point. But you wouldn't know it because San Francisco made them look really, really good as Minnesota won 3 games. Locked On Giants says this 4-game losing streak for them may be the last chance at a playoff spot that is slipping away.
Just a brutal road trip at a time when the Giants need to be playing their best baseball of the year. Ben Kaspick with the Locked On Giants podcast. They go 2-6 through Colorado, below 500 team, Detroit, one of the worst teams in the AL, and Minnesota, where they get swept. The Twins had lost 6 straight coming into the series. So the Giants have just played like this all season long. They just are inconsistent and generally not very good. And they're not eliminated, but they're pretty much out of it. And The one thing is they do have a shot against some teams that are ahead of them. Like, for example, their next series is against the Padres. The Padres are the team that's in that third wild card spot. And so if you sweep, you could gain some, 3 games in that race. The Giants are currently 7.5 back, and it could be much worse, but the Padres haven't been playing particularly great baseball themselves. But still, the Giants, they need to get scorching hot at this point, and it's very unlikely they're not going to make the playoffs, which is quite disappointing coming off 107 wins last year, and the fact that they had a lot of flexibility in the offseason to make different /commit more payroll. They could have done more in the offseason, and in hindsight particularly, it's disappointing. So we'll break all that down tomorrow on Locked On Giants, where it's your team every day.
The Red Sox were able to secure the fact they were going to win the series against Tampa before that last game on Sunday, which is good because they got completely rocked with a 12-4 loss. Locked On Red Sox goes over a little bit of a silver lining for Boston.
The good news is that the Red Sox won the series against the Tampa Bay Rays. However, the bad news is that they suffered a pretty ugly loss to close out the series on Sunday. Hey, it's Lauren from Locked On Red Sox, and even though Sunday's loss was ugly and bullpen continued to show their issues and the offense as well, we got to talk about Rich Hill and how quickly he was working on Saturday, his season-high 11 strikeouts. Old man still got it when he wants to have it. And Friday's win too, so there was good things to take away from the series. Some bad from the 12-4 loss on Sunday, but Jake and I will break the whole series down for you on Monday's episode of Locked On Red Sox.
The brooms were out for the D-backs. They swept their series with the White Sox over the weekend. Locked On White Sox reflects on a team that had so much promise to start the season, but has failed to meet those expectations.
The Chicago White Sox lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks Sunday afternoon 3-2. Chicago was swept by Arizona this past weekend. In a season full of pathetic play and lifeless efforts, the Sox have hit a new low. White Sox were serious World Series contenders coming into this 2022 season, and here we are, August 28th, and the Sox are 2 games under 500. White Sox have an off day on Monday, which is a welcome sign for all Sox fans everywhere.
Robbie Ray helped the Mariners win their series with the Rangers after he threw 7 shutout innings on Sunday. Our Locked On Mariners host celebrates that win, while our Locked On Rangers host goes over where Texas's offense really fell short.
So the Mariners shut out the Guardians to secure a massive series win on Sunday at T-Mobile Park. This is Ty Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast. Robbie Ray was all out of bubblegum today, if you know what I'm saying. He was instrumental in this 4-0 shutout win for the Mariners. Goes 7 scoreless, absolutely shoved. Just loved watching Robbie Ray pitch today. The offense, however, was still only able to get its runs via the long ball, but they were able to do much more damage with their home runs than they were last night. They get a 3-run blast out of Dylan Moore, and then Ty France, who finally got off the schneid and broke his offer with a single into left, homered on his very next at-bat to extend the Mariners' lead to 4-0, and that's all the Mariners needed because, again, Robbie Ray, Eric Swanson, and Paul Sewald were brilliant today. So after vibes were really down after the Mariners lost 3 of 5 to the Oakland A's and the Washington Nationals, they bounced back in a big way against a team that matches them very well. And they impressively took 3 of 4 from them. I think we learned a lot from the Mariners. I'm going to be talking about that, and we're just going to be talking about the series overall on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Mariners. Be sure to join us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Stop me if you've heard this before, but the Rangers have a 1-run loss on Sunday against the Tigers. This was a less frustrating 1-run loss than the many, many others of its variety the Rangers have suffered this season. I'm Bryce Patrick, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. Texas drops this one 9-8. The comeback fell just short. The Rangers had the game-tying run in Bubba Thompson, one of the fastest players in Major League Baseball, on second base with 1 out, but they could not bring him home in this one to tie it and send it to extra innings. The Rangers scored 3 runs in the 8th and the 9th to keep that comeback going. They had a pair of homers in the 6th inning to get on the board. Corey Seager set a new career high with his 27th homer of the season. Nathaniel Lowe followed that up with another bomb of his own. Seager had a pair of homers in this one, including the one that brought it to a 1-run game in that 9th inning, his 28th of the season. Nathaniel Lowe had his 22nd of the season, and Cole Calhoun even got on the action, who has been in a rough way since coming back off the IL. Really, since the month of May, he's been in a rough way. Kohei Arihara got absolutely obliterated by this Tigers lineup. Second straight day, the Rangers having a starting pitcher who is not quite Major League Baseball caliber in Dallas Keuchel, and Kohei Arihara, who has done fairly well in his first 2 starts since being called up, but this one was a rough one for him. 3 1/3 innings, 6 runs, a rare off day for Brock Burke. 2 innings, 3 runs, a pair of walks for him in this one. Not a great day for him. Just a tough day overall for Texas, who fought hard to come back, could not quite make it happen despite having that run there. And you know what? This is one of those 1-run losses you can definitely live with.
That's going to do it for today on Locked On Game to Game MLB. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you go check out Locked On MLB and your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.